You're probably getting worried that you're not being given much discussion on your projects. It's fine. You should be worried, but you should not be worried. Because all of you know what is better. And we would like that you slowly develop your own judgment rather than depend on. So we are trying to indirectly stimulate a certain kind of process. You will find out how to do that. And you will be confident about what you have done. That's the way it should be. We will talk about it sometime. Still a few days will work. So today we are going to start with a small exercise and then proceed on to working with our project again. When you went to Nallur, especially those who went in the smaller group, and when you walked in the street where the houses are, did you feel that it was a friendly place or an unfriendly place?
We saw very less people this afternoon. So on the streets you could see few animals and we could not ask anyone what it is about.
Yes. No, but from the way the street was made, how did you feel? Huh?
It was friendly. There were
Friendly.
people sitting on the plinths outside and they would ask us what they were doing. They would help us.
So what was it that made you feel that it was a place which was friendly?
Because it opened into the street. Suppose the houses had been very far away from the street, then we would not have known who was inside.
Suppose one house alone had been built, no street, only one house, somewhere in the rice fields with that porch in front, with the knife. Would it have felt the same? Different? How would it have felt?
Then that area would become more of a private space. You will not be able to.
No, it does not say anything to you. When in the street, there are lots of houses are. It does not say anything to you. In the street, like there are cement in the front. So it's like they're inviting. So they into the house. And if it's isolated, it does not say anything to you unless you go to it. Even though then you will feel like it's isolated.
Yes. Suppose you are walking on the beach, you know nobody on the beach, and you pass one person who was sitting there on the beach, and he was smiling, and nobody in particular, not at you, I didn't know that you passed that. What would you feel? Eh? What would you feel about that person?
He is in memory.
Huh?
He is in memory.
Yeah, he has a memory, and maybe he's talking to that person in his memory, or he's mad. But if you found 3-4 people and they were smiling at each other and maybe were talking once in a while, then it would be normal. So, the street and the house make each other. Does a house have a face? Are there stern faces, joking faces, happy faces, depressed faces in houses? Have you ever thought like this? Can a house have a face? One secret exercise that you could do in your sketchbooks sometime is to draw houses of different moods, their faces. It's a very interesting exercise. Draw an angry house, draw a happy house, draw a jovial house, draw a serious house. Might be very interesting. Right. It's quite interesting. So how this wall and the space in front is doing something. Now, so is this a welcoming village? Is this a welcoming house? Does it feel like a welcoming house? So irrespective of what house it is, we would like you to make one line draw. You use only a line. And it will be a continuous line, you will not lift your pen. You will draw it in pen, I think.
Pen.
Pen is better. Don't use a felt pen because that is too soft. It flows very easily. Use a pen which has a point. Use a thin line. And this pen is alright, or maybe this is okay also, yes, this is fine. That kind of pen, most of you have that. Yeah? Use a pen and a continuous line. You cannot lift up the pen. Once you lift the pen, drawing is over. Complete, finish. उसके ऊपर और कुछ नहीं लिखना. You will draw a place of welcome. Or a welcoming place. We can have it either ways. A welcoming place or a place of welcome. It is of course in relation to the place that you are making, but it can be any welcome occurs when at the beginning. You don't go deep inside and then get welcome. You are not an intruder who reaches that full, अंदर ऑफिस में घुसेगा right up to Bimal's office and then you expect Bimal to welcome you. It's not possible. But the school can welcome you from there and bring you till some place that you want to go to. So a place of welcome or a welcoming place is what you will draw with a single line on a half A4 sheet. You will not put the pen to paper till you have got something. And once you start drawing, you will not stop. So you have full half hour, but you may spend quite a bit of it somewhere, not at the canteen and not with friends, but with yourself. And then you can use as much time within that half hour that you want for making your problem. Okay, that's the exercise. Got it? Clear? Questions? No questions. It's a very intelligent class. There's never a question. They understand straight away. First thing. Good. Very good. So then, after that, we go back to the project. I would suggest that you pin up your drawings first. Pin up maybe one house. You can print it on an A3 or A4. A4 even small, it will be, it's okay. Print only one house, any one of these houses. And stare at your drawings for 10 minutes if you can. Mostly you won't be able to. 10 minutes just looking at that drawing, it will not work. Your attention will go somewhere. Try to look at it for 10 minutes. If you have to look elsewhere, then look at one of these houses. And just spend 10 minutes quietly. So after that half hour, there will be complete quiet for 15 minutes in the class. You settle down, look. Stare. Lines, sections, whatever you do. Okay. After that, now let's start thinking about the character of spaces. What gives character to a space? Light. What makes light? Suppose instead of 3 doors, 2 fins, 2 walls, there were 5 fins and 6 doors. Will the character of the room change? Suppose there was a wall with many small windows. Will the character of the room change? Suppose that one was deeper. Right now it is maybe 1.5 meters. Say it is 2 meters. Will the character of the room change? What will change the character? Suppose this floor was highly polished. Suppose there was a ceiling here. Will it change the character? What is a space? What is the range of space? Of defining space. What is the range? Complete definition means what?
Something that
space is defined completely. When I say that, means what? Defined, not made. I'm talking about defined.
Maybe it's very clear like what all can happen in a race.
Suppose you didn't know what can happen. You found the ruin. Nothing can be removed. No, if you think very simply, why do you define space? Why do you define? Activities can happen.
There are 4 walls and there are 2 doors.
Why do you define? To separate it from other spaces. Right? So maximum definition, maximum separation. So if I have walls, floor, roof, maybe one door, maximum definition. And I then start releasing and looking at less definition. Less definition is worse or better? Huh? Depends. Depends. What is it for? Huh? So, complete definition is good. Maybe because you have some valuables which have to be locked up. Maybe because it is so precious that whatever is inside, that nothing should disturb it, etc. etc. And less definition is good. Why? When is it good? Huh? When you want to be connected to something next to it. So you say, yes, this is a space, but it is part of it. Defining means more enclosed. In this particular talk, I am using that simple thing. It is not the full sense. Let's not worry about what actually defining means. We are looking at how enclosed to less enclosed. Okay, let's use that word. Suppose in a house, how many types of definition can be? Huh? 3? Yes. Public to private, private to very private. Semi-private. Public to semi-private to private. Bas? Is that enough? Is our life that clear that I say, now I am going to do public activity. So I'm sitting here and I can see everybody can see me and I behave for public activity. Now I am going into semi-public. Now I am going into private. Is it like that? Is life like that? Life is most interesting when it is somewhere in between. With a slight change of direction, I can become private. And little bit of change of, I can become public. That is why this movement is so interesting, fascinating, at least to the men. Because, so the stories always happen at those places where two things are happening, possible. Huh? Hiranyakashipu was killed by Narsimha at that threshold. Not night, not day, not days. When Sita came onto that light, then whole Ramayana started. So, you will see that many people like to occupy that space. And architecture is not happy in the completely defined or the completely undefined. Completely undefined, there is dust and there are insects and water and so many things. No, completely defined at all. Whole sequencing from completely undefined to completely defined is in many different ways. What are the things that make it? The ground that we are on. If I sweep the ground somewhere, it becomes a different place from whole ground. If I make something on it, then I make it higher, then I make it higher, then I make it higher, it becomes a roof on top or shelter or shade. Sides, back, front. And then points in space. Like we went into the temples and see what the columns were doing to that big space. They made some very one side if you are walking, then this side became transparent. That was great. And then suddenly you turned and everything changed. So like that, architectural elements create a rich series of possibilities. And a house must have the richest possible series of possibilities. Even a small, tiny house, it must have. Only then it becomes enjoyable to live in. So now, the next exercise is you will stare at your plans and then you will do few things to your plans to make these sequences more alive. Okay, plan, it's working. If it doesn't work, someday we will make it work also. Doesn't matter. I'm not too worried about it. But as a place, so what will you have to think about? You'll have to think of moving in and out of the house, going to the garden, coming from the street, doing this, doing that. All the things that we have been sketching will be brought to bear on this thing that you are staring at, this long thing. And you will go up and down also. You will look from the roof and you will look from below and you will look from everywhere. And you will start modifying it little bit. Not completely throw away, modify. So, now the tool. You can have one of two tools. Or you can have both tools. One is, you get a small bottle of poster color, white, and a small brush, and wipe out things where you don't want. And then again, I am assuming that there is a small sized Xerox of this with you. The other is a cutter and white paper. So you take a little piece of white paper and put it and then redraw it. Make the drawing messy. Work with it in pencil, work with this cutting and lightening and all that. Till it becomes a thick drawing, not a thin drawing. Yeah? You understood the exercise? So first exercise, single line drawing of a welcoming place or a place of welcome. Second exercise, staring at your drawing. Third exercise, enriching the way in which space is made by elements in your house. Bharat, you got that? Yeah. And that will continue. This first part we will do right now, that half hour, and then we will do, we'll take time to pin up the thing, then we will spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes looking at it, and then we will start working on the other part. Okay? Got it? Chalo.